Brendan, we saw it trend this morning. Cameron back involved. Des Almeida also involved. Where are they at in terms of their fitness and in terms of involvement tomorrow night?
Yeah, they won't be involved tomorrow, but for the weekend they'll hopefully be available.
And in terms of your approach generally for the game tomorrow, how do you balance the desire to get a result, to do well, with also the fact that you can't improve your standings in the group and you've got a lot of important domestic games on the horizon?
Listen, our attitude in the game is exactly the same as what it's been, is to go and look to win the game. We do that by playing our way. I think we showed at the weekend, once we change from that or divert from that, we don't have the same qualities, and it's not our strength. So our strength is to go and play the game we want to play. We know we're playing against a good side, but it's our last game at home, and we want to do everything we can to give the supporters a performance and a result.
It's not a topic I like to get bogged down in, but in the bigger picture of things, Scotland's coefficient situation, I don't know how much you pay attention to this, but the points accumulated by Scotland as a nation dictate how many teams go into Europe, where they go in. For next season, Scotland are in quite a good position, but beyond that, Scotland, as it stands, will drop significantly down the rankings, which means, for example, the champions have to go through a lot of qualifiers. The only way that can be improved is by picking up points in games like this. Does that come into your longer-term thinking in terms of the accumulation of points, in terms of what it may mean down the road by getting results?
No, I think it's just purely it's based on how you're doing for me now and in the present. Of course, I think if we're successful at the level, then of course that hopefully then that tags on the rest of the coefficient stuff. But ultimately, we're here to perform for Celtic and do the very best that we can. If we can do that and gain points and wins, then of course that will always improve the standing.
Brendan, you talk about wanting to have the right approach. You obviously want to get a positive result tomorrow night, but does this also give you an opportunity to test players at a good level, to see what they can do, that maybe fringe players who you haven't been able to see at this level before?
Yeah, I think it's also because of the situation we have with injuries and whatnot, and of course with all the games that we have played before and after this game. It will give the opportunity for players to play, and I think that's, by the time I reach January, I think a lot of the players in the squad that will have had the opportunity to play games and play games through all the levels, and then can be assessed from there. But whatever team we put out, we're putting the team out always to win. At Celtic, there's no gifts, there's no free games. Every game is to win, and even though disappointingly we won't have anything in Europe after Christmas, we still playing for pride here and the support. So we'll have a team tomorrow looking to fight for the result.
How has the response been from Sunday in training, and what kind of response are you expecting to see out there tomorrow night?
It's mostly been recovery, to be fair, from we play Sunday and we get back in. Obviously we analyse the game. I think the beauty and the great value of the game at the weekend is that we know where the issues were, that a bit like the St Johnstone game, the intensity wasn't right, and we fixed that. Sadly for us, when we analysed the game, we didn't play with the poise that we would need to play with in the second half in our league game. So, but at least we see that, and then we can take that learning hopefully into the game tomorrow.
Brendan, you talked there about taking learning into the game tomorrow, but can a victory tomorrow mean you can take learning into next season, and will it give your players belief that they do belong at that level if you do return to the Champions League next season?
Well, it's still such a long way to go, and I think that probably come this time next year, then the squad may look a lot different again. So, but I think what you can only focus on is the present, and for us, it's about going and performing and playing to the level that we know we can consistently. We've done that in spells over the course of this competition, where we've played some really, really high level football and showed in those moments that we belong at the level. But you have to consistently do that, and if we can never do that consistently with that quality, then that will always give you a chance of breaking through.
if you do pick up 3 points tomorrow, have something to show for your efforts in this group stage. Could it also spur you on domestically? Obviously, you are 5 points clear at the top of the league, but could it give you an extra boost as this domestic schedule, festive schedule, really ramps up?
There's nothing. Every win always improves confidence, and but either way, whatever the result will be, we'll go into our game against Hearts really focused on performing and getting a result. So, but yeah, we will make that breakthrough. I'm pretty sure at some point, and in the near future. But it would be a great place to start tomorrow, of course. And but whatever the result, we go into our weekend's game really focused on getting back up to speed in the league.
Just finally from me, what do you expect from Feyenoord tomorrow night, given the fact that they know they're going to be in third place? Do you think they're going to come here with a full strength side? Will it be similar to the one you faced on match day one? What do you think?
I think so. I think probably maybe barring injuries, then Jimenez might play and be around. He didn't play in the first game, and he's obviously a very talented striker and done really well for them. But we expect them, they're a strong side. You know, we've seen their quality. We played really well in the first half, stood up in the second half, but you can see the quality they have, the physicality in the team, and they got a really high level of technique and good understanding. And Arnie's an excellent coach who's done very well with Feyenoord. So any game in the Champions League is a big challenge, but we relish that. It's our last game here in the competition, and we want to give the supporters something to go home happy about.
Brian, can I just ask about Rio Hatate? Have you had the chance to assess him? Is there any chance of seeing him before the winter break, or are you looking at after January, later in January?
Yeah, he's at this moment in time we're thinking it'll be into January. So, but he's doing very well. But we just assess that as each day goes by.
Look at top teams across the Champions League level, and even when you're first here, we had Scott Brown, who's a physical presence in midfield and do the dirty work and allow players to push on forward and attack. Is that a player you'd like to bring in the January window or moving forward to the summer window?
What a
physical kind of holding midfielder, similar to like what Scott Brown did during your first time here.
I think it's always about balance in midfield. You know, I think for me the importance of winning the ball is a collective. It's not just one player. Scott was obviously outstanding in my time here the first time, but we played with a physical player in the weekend and we lost. So it's all about the balance in your team. I said when I first come in, hopefully the identity that this team will have power and strength and creativity and speed over the course of my time here, and we're working towards that. So, but technical ability is very important, but being competitive is equally important, and but that's in all aspects of the pitch.
The last Champions League game was when you were here as manager. How great an achievement would it be for you to, again, personally for you, to guide Celtic to another Champions League win, and hopefully it's tomorrow night?
Listen, it would be great, but more so for the supporters that have been waiting a long time. You know, the Anderlecht game was a fantastic win for us, and we played really well in the game. The team has gone close on occasions, and but it would be nice to make that result, and it's more for everyone than a personal achievement. You know, this is a really challenging competition for a team like ourselves, but we always dream and we always have that ambition to do well, and whilst we're competing with the shirt, we'll always fight for the result.
Are there any specific things that from the rest of the group stage games you'll be looking to improve on for tomorrow night? Callum said that you need to be switched on for 90 minutes. The players need to be switched on for 90 minutes. But is there anything else that you have worked on in training or anything in hopes that it will mean you'll get a better result tomorrow night?
Well, I think in terms of these games, I've always said they're games about belief. So from and Callum's absolutely right, from a mental perspective, your concentration is so important. The technical level of players here, they can get through the pitch very quickly, and then all of a sudden they're in on your back line. and lots of teams at this level, they have the front end of the pitch is filled with quality. So that concentration is important. But when you have the ball, it's having that belief and that poise to look after the ball, to attack with speed, but also be able to play at tempo. And that's something that we always aim to do here within the team. So yeah, but most importantly, as soon as the whistle goes, you go and attack the game, and that's when we're at our best. And we've shown that here on a number of games. When we do that, we look a really good side. And then you know that within the game, you're going to have to defend, and you're going to have to be strong, and you need a little bit of luck along the way. And if you can do that, then hopefully you can have a great night.
So the performances in the Champions League this season have been good, but you don't maybe have the points to show for it in the group. But what are the positives that you can take from this campaign going into the next one?
Well, I look through each game, and there's spells in it where I've been really happy with. Like the start in Feyenoord was really good up until half time, and then we lose per goal. The Lazio game here, we should have taken something from that game and didn't, and that concentration, that lapse cost us. Atletico Madrid was, I thought, a really good performance here at home, and a really exciting game against a really, really good side. So we've shown that not just competing, but our football, it's then about sustaining that, because then you can't drop off in your next games. Atletico away was a tough evening for us. You lose a player at that level, and it can really punish you, and they did do that. But yeah, I've seen a lot in a lot of the games to know that we keep improving our experience and look to improve the squad. Then we hopefully can make another step forward.
Hi, Brendan. Just to touch on recruitment, in the summer transfer window we signed 9 new players, and at the weekend there only 2 of them started. I think Palma and Nat Phillips, whose loan deal finishes soon. In the previous fixture against Hibs, only Palma started. Looking back, would you say you were satisfied with the summer activity, and are you confident going forward in January that you'll be able to get the 4 quality first team ready players that you mentioned in terms of experience and quality in general?
Listen, I don't need to look back. The players were signed. They're in here. They're players that may not be for now. They might be players that down the line become really good players for Celtic. You know, when you come into a club like Celtic at 20 years of age, it can be a real challenge, and the adaptation. And if you're coming from another country, it can be tough. But so those guys have signed long contracts, some of them, and hopefully in that time they can show that they can be Celtic players. Looking forward, of course, we want to improve the squad. And I think we'll do that, one, with players that are coming back that can prove influential for us, and hopefully, if there's the right players available, we can look to improve key areas that we would like to.
And just a similar question I asked to Callum was just, obviously in the European campaign, we have competed well in the majority of the games. Do you have a message for Celtic fans that you feel that you can be the one that can take us forward and, you know, progress in terms of knockout football, and just give us something to dream about in terms of going into these Champions League games again?
I absolutely can, because it's the very reason I came back. I came back here to lead the club domestically to hopefully continued success, and also into Europe, where we all want to break this barrier and bridge this gap, which is a really, really tough challenge, but it's what I've always done in my career. Pick the challenge to come here and hopefully take us forward, and that's going to be us all. That's going to be the supporters, the board, the players, the club, myself, all being together, getting the right players in that can improve and develop our squad, and I have every confidence that we can do that over the coming seasons.